It's November 19th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice, and strategy wants us to know if we want to ride the jet, you've got to be prepared to pull the G's, and that is embrace the G's, which is just a little tip of the cap, a little ode to Michael Saylor the other day, just basically saying, hey, this kind of volatility, I actually love it. This type of volatility is vitality. This type of volatility, it's a gift to the faithful. I'm embracing it. You should be too. And he's saying it all with a smile. And by the way, we've got an epic 10-minute video clip of Michael Saylor yesterday on Fox. You're not going to want to miss because he blows the doors off of it. I absolutely loved that conversation that he had on Fox Business. So stick around for that. And let's keep on moving forward today because we're going to talk about Michael Saylor saying believe. And that's believe with a capital Bitcoin B. And guess what? I believe, Michael Saylor believes, Phong Lee believes, strategy as a company believes, many of you viewers believe. You know, I'm getting over 4,000 to 5,000 views every single video. The vast majority of you that are viewing are believing. So thank you for believing. Thank you for hitting the like button. Thank you for commenting. It's all keeping this belief alive. That's what we need to do to make it through these times because they're not fun. They're not enjoyable, but they're as unenjoyable as the joy that we're going to feel when the tides do once again turn. So hit that like button, hit that comment button. Let me know what you're thinking right now. Ermay wants us to know what MSTR versus IBIT did yesterday. Well, a lot of people have not been enjoying the negative correlation. Well, it flipped the script yesterday. At one point, MSTR was up over 8% and IBIT was up about 1.5%. End of the day, MSTR was up close to 6%, and IBIT, I think, was up close to 1%. So it was still around about a 6x better performance for MSTR, which I expect more of those days to come, especially as the pendulum begins to swing. Hugh says, a minute's silence for all those who let us handed their shares under 200 yesterday, MSTR. And then Pub says they can rebuy around 150 pretty soon. Hey, there's always going to be people that are doing that are saying things like this. And guess what? I'm not saying they're not going to be right because we don't know what the price action is going to be. But guess what this person's not doing? They're not shorting MSTR because they can just type things on a keyboard, but they're not going to take action because they're terrified too. Hugh says, muted, perpetual silence from you. Little brutal, Hugh, but I get the sentiment. Zinc says, every time Stretch drops below $95, I'm going to buy and pocket a nice minimum of 5.2% gain as it inevitably trades back up to par at $100. I hold the view that strategy is extremely well capitalized, and there is very little chance of this blowing up. Easy money. And I could not agree more. It is so easy money. Anytime strategy drops below 100 to scoop some up. And probably around the 16th or 17th of each month, we're going to have that opportunity because there's going to be a sell-off of people who already locked in the snapshot of the dividend payout for that month. And they're looking for something else to do for the next 28 days with their money before dumping it back into Stretch. So they're going to take it out. They're going to sell Stretch and go buy something else. And good luck to them. Simon says, even on days like today, our strategy remains unchanged. While short-term movements can be unsettling, our focus continues to be on long-term valuation. Simon dropping value bombs, staying the course. Metaplanet, I believe, is going to be a beast in the future. It's only a matter of time. Anthony Pompliano says, long-term investors shouldn't take advice from short-term speculators. They should not take advice from short-term speculators. Are you a long-term investor? Are you in the long-term lounge, as Anthony Pompliano likes to say on a recent show that he did? I think it was actually just yesterday. He had a long conversation about being in the long-term lounge, or are you in the short-term trader, casino? Just popping coins in slot machines. Which one are you? And for me, I am just chilling in the long-term lounge. I'm waking up every morning. I'm walking my dog. I'm watching the sunrise. I'm doing a video for you on MSTR, a company that I love, that I believe in, that I'm inspired by, that I'm motivated by, run by the financial engineering genius of our lifetime, Michael Saylor, and Phong Lee, just crushing it as well. I love being in the long-term lounge. I am not exiting this lounge because it's a fantastic place to be. Now let's watch Michael Saylor absolutely dominate Fox Business. So Michael, take it away. Senator Cynthia Lummis recently announced that funding for a U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve can start anytime. This is a massive step forward for a strategic crypto stockpile, and no surprise, was soon followed by a new all-time high for Bitcoin. If you're looking to buy more Bitcoin, BitIRA can help. In fact, BitIRA will help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into Bitcoin. This also allows you to buy Bitcoin using pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. And if you want, you can even add XRP, Ethereum, or other cryptos. BitIRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and is registered with the US government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Think about this. In March, President Trump signed an executive order for the Treasury to manage 200,000 Bitcoin as the foundation for a reserve. That's just the foundation. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin. Fire Nation, when you want more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, more success, it all starts with Northwest Registered Agents. These legends have been helping entrepreneurs launch and grow their businesses for nearly 30 years. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your state's laws and actually care about helping you win. With Northwest, you can build your complete business identity, everything from what your customers see to what they don't, operating agreements, meeting minutes, compliance paperwork, and more. You'll get thousands of free resources, lawyer drafted forms, and step-by-step guides all in one place, and you don't even need to create an account to access them. Best part, privacy is automatic. Northwest never sells your data and handles everything in-house. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free.
Well, folks, we know Bitcoin has faced tough sledding in the past, but certainly in the recent months. In fact, that chart there is saying that this is the first time since 2023 that's negative on the year, and that's worrisome for holders who may not have been in it long enough to know that there are usually some booms and busts with this thing. Now, it does have the meme writers working overtime. I thought this was a fun one, taking shots at the crypto bros. Of course, nobody takes more shots than Michael Saylor, who posted just a few hours ago on X, quote, believe. So let's bring him in now. Strategy founder, executive chairman, Michael Saylor. Michael, some would say that believe is like hope. It's not a strategy. So what's changed? Has anything changed with the value proposition?
You know, Bitcoin's been around for 15 years. It's had 15 major drawdowns. It's always come back to a new all-time high. If you zoom out, this is just par for the course. This is normal in the life cycle of an emergent transformational asset class, and it's a healthy thing. It clears out the tourists, the leverage, and the weak holders, and sets the basis for the next rally upward.
A lot of folks are saying when Wall Street was kicking the tires that when Wall Street got involved, we'd have less volatility. And is that, do you feel it's the Wall Street connection, has that helped or hurt?
You know, I think we are getting less volatility. When I got into this space in 2020, Bitcoin was an 80 vol asset, growing about 80% a year. And it's ground down to 70, 70, 60, 60. And now it's 50 vol asset, growing about 50% a year. I think every few years, you're going to get another 5 points of vol taken off it as it matures. And it's kind of grinding toward being about 1.5 times as volatile as the S&P index and 1.5 times better performing.
Could it be, to a degree, a victim of its own success in the sense that it feels like other cryptos this year and other, other stories in this area have gotten a lot of attention? Also, of course, gold. Does gold take away some potential Bitcoin buyers?
Well, there's a lot of exciting things going on in the economy. There's digital intelligence and AI. There's digital assets, digital currency, digital finance, and you can't dismiss any of them. But Bitcoin still remains the ultimate digital opportunity for a sound money enthusiast. So if you simply want to save your money forever and avoid counterparty risk, Bitcoin is stronger than ever. These other opportunities are going to continue to be shiny things, and you can leave them to the tech investors that are experts in those areas.
So let's talk about your company for a moment. Strategy, the shares, we're going to put it on the screen here, getting hammered pretty good. And many talk about the financing or your financing approach. Explain to the audience once again the approach that you use to raise money so that you can buy Bitcoin, and why why maybe it's some are saying that that's going to collapse.
The company's up about 70% a year for the past 5 years. Bitcoin's up about 50% a year for the past 5 years. So it's actually one of the top performing companies, maybe it plus NVIDIA in the entire S&P index. We're also the best capitalized company in the crypto economy. We've got more than $50 billion of equity, and we're a financial powerhouse. We have billions of dollars of liquidity in the equity every day. And our credit instruments are 100 times more liquid than the average preferred equity. So our approach is to raise capital by selling digital credit or by selling equity to invest in Bitcoin, which is digital capital. Bitcoin's appreciating about 50% a year for the past 5 years. We expect it'll appreciate about 30% a year for the next 20 years. And we offer these credit instruments that pay about 10% dividend yield in the form of a return on capital dividend. So it's tax deferred, and so it's a pretty strong business model. If you want to work out the math, as long as Bitcoin goes up 1.25% a year, the company can pay the dividend forever and create more shareholder value. If Bitcoin stops going up 0% forever, we got about 80 years to figure out what we're going to do about that.
What if Bitcoin goes down more, though? Is there a point on the downside that triggers some sort of domino effect?
The company's engineered to take an 80 to 90% drawdown and keep on ticking. So I think we're pretty indestructible. Our leverage is, in the level of 10 to 15% going towards zero right now, which is extremely, extremely robust.
Well, one thing I love about you, man, is when the pressure is on, and it comes, almost annually, right? But certainly when it comes, you never shy away. You always stand tall, and people who have followed you through thick and thin are so much wealthier for it. So thanks a lot, Michael. Always appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, see you soon. Hey, folks, now I want to bring in Coin Stories podcast host Natalie Brunell, because you've been there too, Natalie, through the sort of thick and thin. But when it's under pressure like this, you get a lot of heat. What are you telling people right now?
Well, I let people know that I've been in this space since 2017. And since then, we've seen about a dozen drawdowns of 25% or more, 6 that were 50% or more, and 3 that were 75% or more. I'm still
You were
standing.
nervous on that 75%, right?
I was buying up as much as I possibly could. I was hoping it would dip under 10K. But you know what? If you're nervous, you actually don't understand it enough, because if you understand Bitcoin, then you actually celebrate these opportunities to buy on the dip. So if you don't know enough, get my new book.
Okay, we're going to talk about your book in 1 second, but what is it, though? What is it that, you can't, in the financial world, I can't say the word guarantee, but it sounds like you feel like the return, the ultimate story, the ultimate value proposition is guaranteed in your mind.
That's right. I think that Bitcoin has the superior properties that make for a great form of money, a great asset that we can invest in over the long term. I know you talk about companies in the S&P 500 all the time. The average lifespan is about 20 to 30 years. This is the 100-year investment. And I think for the average person, which is really my target audience, for the average person, it's been so hard to accumulate capital, to have a seat at the table. We have such an incredible wealth divide, and Bitcoin allows us to catch up. It has for me. It has for all these people that I've met. It has for Michael Saylor, who found new purpose through Bitcoin, and I think it will do so for billions of people around the world. You've
always been Bitcoin, Bitcoin, Bitcoin. Other digital currencies, digital assets are getting some shine right now. They've done, there's the new cases out there for Ethereum. You've got a government that's backing crypto. Are you looking elsewhere? Are you still? It's all still about for you, Bitcoin.
I'm all about Bitcoin. I see a little bit too much risk elsewhere. And I think today the average person doesn't want to be a day trader doing dozens of hours of homework into all of these digital equities. I think Bitcoin actually simplifies savings, and I think it's here to stay forever. So when you have a winner, it sometimes hurts to diversify.
Central bank. Had central bank bought some Bitcoin recently?
A central bank, yes, the Czech Republic, which has always been at the forefront. They've been hosting a Bitcoin conference there, and they're moving into this as a test experiment. I talked about it a little bit on the news block this week, and I think it's only the first that's going to start to dabble, and eventually we will see central banks around the world wanting to hold this neutral reserve asset that no one can control and no one can debase.
All right, let's talk the book. Bitcoin is for everyone. So I had a guy in my house the other day. I think where was he from? Where is he from? I forgot. From Israel.
Oh.
And a young guy came to clean the chimney, and we're talking about investing. He says, I want to get into Bitcoin. And I showed him your book. He was so excited. I think he's going to be one of the first buyers today. Bitcoin is for everyone. What is it? Why is it for everyone?
Well, it's really the best way for people to save for the future. We exchange our time and our energy for money, and that money can be printed out of thin air by people we do not elect. And I want people to be able to save in something that no one can ever inflate, no one can confiscate, no one can manipulate, and it's something that they can use to plan for their families, for their futures. I think Bitcoin is truly for everyone, is the most accessible form of capital available to 8 billion people around the world, and it's really changing lives everywhere.
There's no doubt it's changing lives. I started, though, with one of the memes with the crypto bros. Apparently, they said McDonald's applications went through the roof here recently. So, and the reason I bring it up, and Michael talked about the weaker hands, too. Listen, I have trouble sometimes getting people to hold on to companies that will be around after we're dead, right? Google will be here. NVIDIA will be here. How do you convince folks who are new to it in their first dip? You mentioned all the dips, but their very first dip, how do you keep them hanging on or even considering to buy more?
I say just start small. That's one of the reasons I wrote this book. I think so many people think it's too volatile, it's too technical. They really have been sitting on the sidelines, missing out on all of this price action. And we are a $2 trillion asset class heading to what I believe will be a $100 trillion asset class. So this is the greatest asymmetric opportunity that the average person has to secure their future.
We're still talking Bitcoin at $1 million at least at some point?
I think eventually, yes. I don't have the bullish price prediction maybe for 2030. I think it'll happen in the next decade or so, but I do believe we will get there.
Well, the good news is that we're both young enough to do it.
Exactly. That's right.
All right. Bitcoin is for everyone. Natalie, you're fantastic.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay.
There is no second best anchor, and there is no second best crypto asset.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you.
What's the second best? There is no second best.